We have two trustees on Zoom, so we're just waiting until I get the signal to go ahead and go. Zoom is an absolutely wonderful resource, but we just need a second to wait for the two Zoomers. The time is now 7:03 p.m. We will now reconvene into open session. Thank you for joining us tonight. A reminder that the meetings of the board are open to the public but are not a meeting of the public. The Humble ISD Board of Trustees meet monthly in a regular meeting to receive reports from staff and take action from recommendations of the superintendent. The board receives the agenda and all supporting documentation several days in advance of the regular meetings, which allows us to ask and receive answers to many of our questions in advance of the regular meeting. Therefore, lengthy discussions are not always necessary on every agenda item, but as a board, we do have the appropriate knowledge and preparation for responses regarding the content of the meeting tonight. There are students and other guests present. To maintain decorum, respectful behavior is expected. Disruptive behavior and/or comments will not be allowed. And with that, the Atascocita Marine Color Guard will be presenting our colors. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please remain standing. We will now observe a moment of silence. You may be seated. Moving to our next agenda item, commendations and recognitions. Dr. Brown, can you please introduce tonight's inspiring moments?
I'll be happy to, Madam President. So good evening. Tonight's inspiring moment is brought to us by the talented Willow Creek Elementary School Choir. The Cardinal Choir is a group of 89 fourth and fifth grade students under the direction of Allison Jane. We have some of those fifth graders walking in right now, and they will be performing here tonight. And we have a couple of featured soloists, Abigail Anderton and Madison Fight. And so if you'll please join me in welcoming these amazing students as they share their talents with us. Ms. Jane, thank you so much for your work with these students. And students, an amazing, amazing performance. And so thank you all so much for sharing part of your evening and your talent with us tonight. Very exciting. All right, so as the students are leaving, and again, thank you all so much. What an amazing performance. I have our Fine Arts Department staff. They're here at the podium. And they're going to share some news, I understand, about some amazing awards and community services. And based upon what we've just seen, are we shocked that we're getting awards? I mean, in the Fine Arts Department?
Well, thank you. Good evening to the Humble ISD Board of Trustees and Dr. Brown. Humble ISD has been named one of the National Association of Music Merchants' best communities for music education for the 5th consecutive year. This designation is awarded to districts that demonstrate outstanding achievement for providing music access and education to all students. This designation is a testament to all students, teachers, administrators, and community members that work together to make Humble ISD one of the best communities, not only for music, but for fine arts education.
And Humble ISD Visual Arts is one of only 16 school districts in Texas to earn the Texas Art Education Association District of Distinction Award for the 6th consecutive year. The trophy's right here. Every year the distinction has been available. This achievement reflects the high quality visual arts programs in Humble ISD, ensuring our students receive exceptional opportunities to learn and grow through the arts. Which button do I push? The big one. This one here? All right. And then in the month of December, our award-winning visual arts programs are exhibiting student artwork at more than 52 locations, including campuses and in the community. One of the exhibits is right here in front of you. And students at Shadow Forest Elementary, Summerwood Elementary, Creekwood, Kingwood, and Westlake Middle School created these holiday stockings to share with you.
They are great. Well, from November 29th through December 23rd, our band, choir, orchestra, mariachi, dance, and theater programs will be performing on campuses and in our community over 220 times. I actually just stopped counting when I got there. They'll be bringing joy and holiday spirit to their audiences through those performances. And the honors that have been awarded to Humble ISD Fine Arts are not just for show, but they really highlight our district's commitment to teachers who are dedicated to fostering growth and creating opportunities that connect students to their peers, their school, and society. So congratulations to all of our teachers. Now, we would love it if we could take a photo with you to recognize the hard work and dedication of all of our fine arts staff and students.
Oh, that's us.
All right, thank you, Fine Arts team, and to all the staff that work with our students each and every day and all of their dedication. And so we really, really do admire all of that work. All right, next, the Humble ISD Police Department celebrated its 30th anniversary this school year. Humble ISD Police have won state and national awards, but the department does not rest on past achievements. Humble ISD Police continue to seek new challenges, and tonight, we are proud to welcome Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Director, Chief Colin Grissom, with a major announcement.
Madam President, members of the board, I appreciate you having us this evening. Again, my name's Cullen Grissom. I'm a deputy chief with the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. If you're unfamiliar with the commission, we are the state's regulatory body for peace officers, county jailers, law enforcement agencies, and telecommunicators in the state of Texas. We're obviously, Humble ISD Police Department is one of our regulated community, both as an agency and the individual officers and telecommunicators who work for them. For years, Humble ISD has had a contract with us to provide in-service training, what we call a contract training provider status. They were one of about 215 such contracts we have in the state of Texas to provide in-service training to law enforcement personnel. They recently applied with the state to up their game, if you will, and provide state licensing courses. So the contract to provide state licensing courses, real simply, is to make new police officers, make new dispatchers, is something we have never given to an independent school district police department before. That is not normally a place where law enforcement academies reside. But we do recognize both the growth in the industry of policing school campuses, but also the growth and expertise within Humble ISD Police Department that I'm here on behalf of Greg Stevens, our executive director, and I saw her on the screen. Unfortunately, I wish Martina Lamont Dixon was here. She was one of our former commissioners. And so, hey, Commish. So we're real excited. We have turned down, to be quite candid, we've turned down other ISD police departments because we didn't feel like they had the resources to back up the importance of licensing courses. And so we were excited with Chief Cook, Solomon, and his team put together a compelling package asking for the contract with great support for your neighbors in that field. We got a lot of support from other similarly situated school district police departments who believe there is a need for school-based law enforcement centric licensing training. And so I am happy to present Humble ISD with a law enforcement academy status as opposed to just a common training provider status, the first of its kind for an ISD police department. So thank you for having me.
I have Assistant Chief Jornay and Sergeant Freedom Moore coming up here also. We work as a team together. This is not one individual, but together we work to make sure that we can try to do everything we can to make Humble ISD safe for our children and our staff.
All right, congratulations, Chief. We appreciate you and your team and all of the hard work of our police officers. We know we have an amazing department, and just thank you so much for that work. All right, next, Jerry Monbaron, Chief Community Engagement Officer, is here with some exciting news about the Foundation's Employee Giving Campaign, because we know that our staff supports the Foundation each and every year, and they're a major part of our donations, and we certainly appreciate that. And so, Jerry?
Thank you. Good evening. On behalf of the Humble ISD Education Foundation Board, I would like to share with you some exciting news. In October, the Education Foundation kicked off this year's Employee Giving Campaign, and the theme corresponded with the Foundation celebrating their 25th anniversary by recognizing the legacy of our employee donors, that they are the legacy they are building with Humble ISD, and that's the shirts that we're wearing tonight. So it brings me great joy to announce that this year, Humble ISD employees have pledged $289,415 to this year's giving campaign. So please join me in thanking these employee donors for this great success. As a reminder, 50% of these funds raised will be given to schools to meet campus-specific needs for their students and educators. And the other 50% will be utilized to award innovative education grants submitted by our educators. These are for creative educational projects that not only get students excited about learning, but moves the needle in helping our students reach their academic potential. On that note, the Innovative Education Grant application is open now, and we can't wait to hear the creative ideas our educators have. We are truly inspired by the dedication to educational excellence from our Humble ISD employees. An integral piece of the campaign success is the volunteer work done by 52 campus representatives that you see on the screen. These people serve as ambassadors to promote this giving opportunity and share how these donations are making a difference on their campus. And we are grateful to everyone on this list for their help in raising the funds. I would now like to ask Dr. Brown and President Parker, Ms. Parker, to join our Foundation Chair, Dr. Calander Purvis, and our Assistant Director of Community Engagement, Christy Tarkington, who really spearheaded the campaign this year, to join us in front for a photo. And as they're coming up front and getting the check, let me just remind everybody that although the campaign time has ended, we are always open to receive donations on behalf of our schools, and so that can happen all year long. Okay.
All right, Dr. Purvis, thank you for your work on our foundation and all of the support. We really appreciate that and love our foundation and what they do for our students. All right, so last month, the district hosted an event that we have never held before, and that's Workout with a Vet. And I'm just now getting over the soreness from doing that. And I don't even know what I did is really called a workout, so.
Technically, it was a warm-up.
A warm-up, there you go. Well, the warm-up made me sore. So here to tell us more about it is Dr. Melissa Lee, Senior Director of Personalized Student Success.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Brown and the Board of Trustees. So anytime you try something for the first time, it's a little bit daunting, and we wonder how it's going to turn out, but that's always part of the adventure. Taking risks is how we create something amazing, which is what we had last month. So in November, the Atascocita High School Marine JRTC, under the direction of Major Marcus Karlstrom, they stepped up, they took a risk, and they volunteered to lead a group exercise on the football field, along with any students and community members who wanted to participate, as well as members from our board and our superintendent, which they call a modified combat fitness field testing, and they showcased the American Ninja Warrior style obstacle course at the inaugural Workout with a Vet. So a huge thank you goes out tonight to our incredible JRTC programs who participated from Atascocita, Kingwood, K Park, and Summer Creek, as well as our middle school athletic programs, the Atascocita High School football team, the Atascocita High School Patriots, our district secondary teacher of the year, Cameron Bradford of Summer Creek High School, who DJ'd for us, Congressman Dan Crenshaw, and our amazingly supportive community. We had a fantastic turnout, and everyone had a wonderful time. One of the highlights was the United States Army bringing in a Black Hawk helicopter for families to explore. And before the helicopter took off, the pilot spoke with School Board Trustee Mike Grabowski and shared how much he enjoyed interacting with the Humble ISD students, and he even gave Mr. Grabowski a patch. Tonight, we'd like to present this patch to Major Carlstrom and his cadets as a keepsake for the Atascocita High School campus, celebrating as Atascocita High School was the very first campus to host Workout with a Vet. I'd like to invite Dr. Brown and Mr. Grabowski to join Major Carlstrom and the cadets for a photo, please.
All right, I want to also thank Jamie Mount and her team for all of the work behind the scenes to pull that Workout with a Vet off, as well as Mr. Grabowski and his support, and the entire board. It was a fun day. It was a fun morning, and so took a lot of people to pull that together, and so we appreciate that. All right, so each year, Humble ISD partners with the Humble Area Assistance Ministries for the Empty Stocking Seasons of Sharing. And this is a drive to help make the holidays brighter for students in need this holiday season. And so Humble ISD's Counseling and Behavioral Services team has identified 830 children in Humble ISD that are in need of assistance this holiday season. And so I think we have a short video of this. All right, I think that concludes tonight's recognitions. Madam President?
Thank you, Dr. Brown. The next item is public comment. The board encourages comments from citizens of the district or from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak either as an individual or as a representative of a group may do so following the procedure outlined in the agenda. The board asks that comments pertain to public education issues and be no longer than 3 minutes. Remember that the board may not discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on our agenda for today's meeting. If an issue mentioned is listed on tonight's agenda, the board will defer discussion until the appropriate time during the meeting. In addition, the board has adopted complaint procedures that are designed to secure, at the lowest administrative level, a prompt and equitable resolution of complaints and concerns. Complaints brought by students or their parents, by employees, and by citizens may be heard in accordance with the board policies. Each of these processes provides that if a resolution cannot be achieved administratively, the person may appeal the administrative decision to the board as a properly posted agenda item. Copies of our district policies on participation in meetings and filing complaints are available on the Humble ISD website. If I could have Ms. Powell, Ms. Allen, Mr. Ford, and Santiago Acosta. Ms. Powell will speak first, and then other three, if I could have you all come sit at this front row up here. Thank you so much. Ms. Powell?
Good evening. It's disheartening to witness the erosion of ethical standards, the disregard for transparency, and the blatant negligence for our children, educator, and community. Humble ISD deserves better. Our children deserve better. The community deserves better. I stand here today to demand the immediate resignation of members of this board. The grievance process in Humble ISD is fundamentally broken. Speaking from personal experience, it's evident that this dysfunction extends beyond the faculty and parents, touching every part of the community. The recent termination of Dr. Elizabeth Fagan, mere days before Thanksgiving, highlights these issues. Don't get me wrong, she needed to go, but the way that it went about was unethical and cost us millions of dollars. It feels weird to sit here and defend her because she needed to go, but just calling balls and strikes, how as we as parents can trust this board? Most alarming is the phone call that Mr. Kirchhoffer used as justification for firing Dr. Fagan. In that conversation, he referred to the employee who filed a Title IX complaint against the former athletic director as a cancer and admitted to the politically motivated actions against Dr. Fagan's termination. Why hasn't this been investigated? Even more troubling, he acknowledged that Mr. Scarfo's guilt was guilty in the infiltration of a radical conservative ideology into our district. Yet under oath at Dr. Fagan's hearing and the board meeting, Mr. Kirchhoffer presented an entirely different story. It's deeply troubling that Mr. Kirchhoffer criticized so openly in this phone call, these people now support his political campaign for school board. Additionally, how can we justify spending another $750,000 on election and legal fees when historically an election costs $250,000? What are we hiding?
And do everything they can to operate. You've got this
public comment. It's time for the public to comment. It is not an opportunity to play audio.
Anybody that would like a copy, get in touch with me and I will be glad to share this copy because I think that the public has a right to hear this, that we have been lied to. You have been lied to. And it's time to step up because these kids, this staff members, they're suffering. We're losing teachers. And it's all of y'all's fault.
Thank you, Mrs. Powell. Ms. Allen?
My name is Deanie Allen, reading specialist and dyslexia specialist, retired Humble ISD teacher. Our district wants to move to the next level. Dr. Brown, I have a question for you. I have emails documenting that you went to Stu Fagan's home Stu Fagan is no relation to Elizabeth Fagan. You went to Stu Fagan's home to hear his presentation of 40 slides on our STAR scores. Then Stu Fagan made the same presentation, or a similar one, to 19 of our top administrators and told them they needed to improve. Then, Dr. Brown, you sent an email to Stu Fagan saying that you looked forward to working more with him. The question I have is, what is Stu Fagan's experience in taking a district to the next level? What are his educational qualifications? Do not blame the administrators and teachers for their STAR scores. The administrators and teachers, I guarantee you, are working as hard as they can with the programs that this district has voted for and tolerated. A reading program that is only successful with half of the children. What is the board's part in where we are? You have rubber stamped everything. You have put politics, personal agendas, and keeping power above the needs of our students. You have ignored our schools' cry for help and our community's questions for help. Things begin and end with the board. We need a superintendent who is a leader with a proven track record of increasing student success. A leader with a proven track record of implementing cutting-edge programs for every student. For superintendent, we need a totally new person, new to our state, with a proven track record of increasing success for every student if you want to take Humboldt ISD to the next level. Don't pick on the teachers.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Mr. Ford?
Scott Ford, educator and candidate for school board in 25. As we know, we are looking for a new superintendent to hire. Now, I don't know what you all are planning on doing, but I can tell you what I would do if I was sitting up there. And Dr. Fagan kind of gave us the answer regarding Reno. Dr. Fagan said, in a paraphrasing, that Reno was the most transparent interview process that she's ever been part of for superintendent. The school board held interviews with all of the candidates for school board, and they were live streamed. The superintendent candidates met with community, met with parents, met with faculty and staff. And so the entire process was transparent. Transparency is the antithesis of corruption and backroom dealings. And while I'm not saying that's what's going on here, I certainly hope that whoever we hire for the full-time position, we have a transparent process where questions are asked and the community gets involved. The first time I spoke at a board meeting was actually when we were considering hiring Dr. Fagan. And as much as I disagree with that decision, at least we had town halls where she was asked questions directly from us. And we even had that notorious 2-hour filibuster meeting where we had people out in the hallway and the air conditioner was off. So I certainly hope that we are going to have that transparent process, because I know if I was sitting there, that is something I would expect and also demand. So thank you. Have a Merry Christmas. Once again, Scott Ford, educator in the district and candidate for school board.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Is it Mr. Acosta or Dr. Acosta?
Mr.
Mr. Acosta, thank you.
Well, I hope to be out there partners with you one day. I want to run for one of your positions. I am here. You all have my contact information, so I'm hoping that what I'm going to propose will be something that you guys can contact me on it, okay? Basically, what I want to do is I want to be able to volunteer my time, or if paid, that's even better, to do a study on the district. How much waste is going on in this district as terms of personnel,
facilities, programs that are not being used, equipment. I want all that. I want to be able to get into all that and figure out what is it that we're wasting money on, okay? Now, let me tell you why I feel I'm qualified for this. I'm a retired teacher of 29 years. I work for three districts, and I've seen the waste that happens in the school districts. I've seen personnel that people, we don't need them there. I see equipment, we don't need that equipment. We don't need programs. And then yet there's bonds passing by, and now where's the money going? So I know exactly where to go to if you guys put me there and investigate what's going on in the district, okay? Number two, I got my little tax right here, $2,800 per year that I'm paying here, and I'm thinking, where's my money going? Where's my $2,800 that I pay? I don't even have kids going to this district. And when you're a retired teacher, you say to yourself, man, I ain't got no money. I've got to find where to get money. Let me go to the district. Maybe I can save them some money so I don't have to be paying this amount. And I'm thinking to myself, if I'm here for 10 years, I'm going to be paying $28,000, and I'm not even going to this school. Where's all this money? And I've been here already 10 years, so I've paid about $20,000 already. What have you guys done with all that money? You see, when you're an educator, when you're a teacher, you don't think about this. All you do is students, work, go home, stress, blah, blah, blah. Now that I'm retired, I got time on my hands, and I say, wait a second, $2,800 a year? Come on now. Where's my money going to? So basically, contact me, okay? I am willing to volunteer my time. I want to do this in the style of Doge, Vivek, and Mr. Musk. They're going to go in there. They're going to be chopping off a bunch of programs. And that's what we need to do in districts. I don't want to be paying this amount of money. I hope that these guys can come all the way to the local level and start chopping off things right now. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, please hire.
Thank you, Mr. Acosta. Next, if Gracie De Leon, Beth Guide, Rich Stoistis, and Justin Lurie could make your way to the front. Ms. De Leon?
Okay. Good evening. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about tonight. First thing is I wanted to congratulate the organizers for the Humble ISD Christmas Parade. For those of you guys that were able to make it out, it was a beautiful event. It was wonderful. It was the first time that I was able to be there the entire time, and it was so congratulations to the organizers. Second thing is I'd like to congratulate the school board members that assisted with the termination of Dr. Fagan. Your testimony and your due diligence got us good results, so thank you for that. And the last issue I wanted to discuss is something that we've discussed before. It's about vaping. It's still a consistent problem. I was actually discussing this with my sons earlier this evening, and however, I had a mom recently reach out to me, and she has informed me that students are now vaping in the classrooms while the teacher is instructing the students and teaching the students. It's very concerning. I think that vaping needs to be a priority of ours. Again, we need to look at taking measures so that we can not have this happen in our schools. I also think in the restrooms, maybe we have visuals for the students that have, things that we used to have back in our day, which is actual, like what your lungs look like before and then after, because vaping still has bad side effects. And I think that we need to make sure we follow through with the consequences with these students. So my request is that the board puts this as a priority so that we can come up with some solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. De Leon. Ms. Guide?
My name is the likes of Beth Guide. I come before you this evening to express my total disgust, and I would like to ask for Mr. Kirchhoffer's immediate removal from all positions dealing with as legal liaison, or more aggressively, I would like to encourage him to resign immediately. And if not, I would like the board members to also work with him to possibly work for his resignation. There was a recording of him and Elizabeth Fagan that highlighted why Mr. Kirchhoffer was fast and loose with the truth, and in my opinion, the root of the word trustee is trust. And in my opinion, Mr. Kirchhoffer has demonstrated that he cannot be entrusted with this board's business. In addition, Mr. Kirchhoffer directly said that I was someone that called Reno without any knowledge of what I actually did or did not do. Whereas I feel this borders on slander, Mr. Kirchhoffer. I want to set the record straight. My opinion is the best thing that could have happened to Humble ISD is for Dr. Fagan to be hired elsewhere. Any smart person would know that. I would like to support any job she attempted to get, because it saved us the money and the heartache that we have had to go through to get this person out of here. So it's intelligence to have her to do this, all right? So don't ever come at me and say that I did something or I didn't ever again, okay? For the record, I will say nobody needed to call Reno and explain whether Liz Fagan was qualified or not. Her record speaks for itself. Her choices speak for itself. So again, I'm asking for your resignation, and I'd also ask you not to seek re-election if you choose not to resign, because that's what's best for this district. So with that, Happy New Year.
Thank you, Ms. Guide. Mr. Stoistis?
Next year, we're going to have a school board election, and 3 trustees have indicated that they want to run for re-election. Martina Lamont Dixon, Chris Parker, Ken Kirchhoffer. The 3 of you voted to remove Superintendent Fagan because of Title IX violations. As well you should. But in 2023, you renewed her contract, despite the fact that the school standing academically has declined precipitously under her leadership. When she started, the school district was at the 80th percentile in math, and last year they were at the school district was at the 44th percentile. And in reading, the school district was at the 83rd percentile when she showed up, and it was down to the 50th percentile. Apparently, the performance of the school district had nothing to do with renewing her contract, because anybody would have looked at this and said, she's done a terrible job, we need to get a new superintendent. Now, I think I speak for the vast majority of the voters that we want to have this school district return to academic excellence. And if you seek re-election, you want to be re-elected, you're going to have to convince the voters that you have a plan, a viable plan, to get this school district back to excellence, and that you're going to implement that plan.
Thank you, Mr. Stoistis. Mr. Laurie?
A few months ago, I spoke about meaningful change of solely one board seat when Ms. Morrison lost her re-election. Since then, the hidden darkness of failing test scores and the outrageous behavior by senior employees have come to light. In the latest legal decision on the ongoing Fagan saga, the findings of fact, not the allegations, but the findings of fact, deliver yet another beam of light exposing this darkness. This time we learn about a board member's behavior. The empty chair up there. Please see findings of fact number 22. Perhaps most of this room has already read it. A few months ago, Mr. Sitton admonished Mr. Scarfo and demanded Scarfo's recusals and more due to the sexual misconduct allegation levied against Mr. Scarfo by Mr. Kite. It has been clearly proven this was a weaponized allegation against Mr. Scarfo, which was fundamentally fabricated. And in my opinion, Mr. Sitton, the empty chair, was among those who helped concoct and deploy these lies. Now, with great irony, we now know Mr. Sitton was in fact projecting his own sexual misconduct behavior onto Mr. Scarfo, as listed in the findings of fact number 22. Again, it's not an allegation, it's a finding of fact. This behavior was witnessed, this behavior was verified, and this behavior was testified by his own former superintendent, Mrs. Fagan. Now that this truth has come to light for all to see, I was hoping that Mr. Sitton today could please explain his own actions. I also would like to ask Mr. Sitton, could you please explain what occurred behind the scenes at the board level with the final decision of no investigation and no action to be taken? Please bring the truth to the light. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lurie. Next, we have comments by individual board members. I'll begin with Ms. Lamont Dixon. Do you have anything?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So first, I would like to say congratulations to Chief Cook and his entire team. I really wish I could have been there today to just wish you congratulations in person, but also to see Mr. Cullen Grissom as well come in to give the honor at our board meeting. That was very special, and I'm very proud of the entire Humble ISD Police Department. Also, just want to say congratulations to Atascocita High School and Kingwood High School for a remarkable football season. And I am so proud that Summer Creek High School is moving on to the next round. So I wanted to say go Bulldogs. And then last, I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Lamont Dixon. Mr. Grabowski?
Well, good evening, everyone. Merry Christmas as well to everybody, and I also wanted to echo to Chief Cook, congratulations to your whole department. Job well done, sir. Job well done. And then we'll just talk a little bit about the workout with Yvette. I want to set the stage. At one point, when it was going at its fullest, I'm standing down on the field with my wife. I was actually with Mr. Perkins and his wife and a few others, and I was looking around, and students, cadets, or cadre and cadets climbing all over a helicopter, and then to the east end of the field, all over a rapid response boat from the Coast Guard, the kind that are now protecting Mar-a-Lago, what was in the parking lot. They were all over the field doing exercises, and on the obstacle course was the congressman and more of the cadets. It was great energy. If you didn't witness it, I don't even know how to describe it. Hundreds of children, students, 12 and up, all over the place. It was just a job well done. And I don't know how to say thank you enough to Dr. Brown, Jamie Mount, I mean, on and on to the cadre at Atascocita High School. It just went, it went so well. I mean, scratching my head thinking, we're gonna get a helicopter to land at a high school, and we pulled it off. It was pretty cool. But you know, the military has a lot of traditions, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the patch that just happened. And at the end of the day, being a pilot, I went up to the helicopter guys, and it was all guys. And I said, you know, thanks. You made the show, and I did the same to the response boat. But helicopter landing and taking off was something special. And they said, did you help organize this? I've heard your name. I said, I was part of it, just a small part of it. It was 50 people that did this. Rusty in the back. I mean, I go on and on and on with how many people were part of it, and I'm sorry that I don't mention all your names. And they said, well, we want to give you something. We want to give you a patch. And when you handed a patch, it's more than a patch. It's a symbolic of, we were so impressed by what you did here for all of these kids. Not me, all of us, the district that pulled this off. And we want you to remember us, and please call us again. And it was a sincere congratulations to all of us here in a military way that is going to now hang in the halls of Atascocita High School forever. And we're meeting in late February with Dr. Lee, another one who I want to thank wherever you are out there, Dr. Lee. She helped organize, runs all the junior ROTCs, that we're going to figure out what high school goes next for our second annual. And then we're going to do it over and over and over again. You know, he's gone. I wanted to give Major Karlstrom some grief because we did the Marine Corps 7 to start exercises to warm up, but they were a lot tougher in the Air Force, I'm telling you that, than the Marine Corps. There's no doubt in my mind. But you know, we make fun of each other, but we absolutely admire and respect each other, no matter what branch we're from. Correct, Mr. Perkins? Navy, 20-year veteran right there. But I love the Junior ROTC program. It teaches our children leadership skills, how to be a good citizen, and there's everything right with that. So again, Merry Christmas to you all, and to everybody out there, thank you. Great job on Workout with Yvette. Thank you, Madam President.
Mr. Scarfo?
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate that. Just a couple items, things that were raised during public comment. Mr. Beatty, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the cost of elections are dictated by the county who runs those elections. We're told how much we have to pay. It's not a question of what it cost 2 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. This is what they say we have to pay, and a lot of that has to do with this, in my personal opinion. Why we need to have 9,000 early voting locations is beyond me. I'm using hyperbole, I know that, but that's correct, right? It's not us who.
Yeah, that's correct. We contract with the county, and they set the rates, and I think last time our election was about 300,000. So we're giving ourselves a little bit of a cushion because the way they calculate how they charge has changed too. So we think we gave ourselves a little bit of buffer, but we don't know. It could be more than what
Could be. Okay, thank you. Just wanted to clear that. And then another comment was made about reading program. I just want to remind the public that, I don't know, it might have been a year or so ago, but the board voted against approving a waiver that the former superintendent had requested about keeping the 3 queuing program in place and not moving forward with what the state wanted to move more to phonics. So we did make a positive step in that direction. I just want to remind everybody about that. And Chief Cook, great job, as always. Very proud to see that. And also everything you guys do day in and day out, we really appreciate it, your entire team. And again, I just want to also say I'm a little disheartened about the criticism leveled at my board colleague, Mr. Kirchhoffer. It's to me, if you listen to that leaked phone call, it totally unfounded. It's not. It was more than one speaker took it out of context and mischaracterized what was actually said. And I really dislike when people do that. But nope, it's a free country, and I guess you can say what you want when you're up there. The truth doesn't really matter. But anyway, not only does I hope he not resign, but that he does run for re-election. Anyway, but you have my full support, sir. And that's the crazy thing. He's one of the people that helped root out the corruption that existed. Okay? Absolutely. So, I mean, to anybody getting up there and taking shots at him, you really need to go back and do your homework because it's absolutely unfounded. And thank you for all the work you did over this last year. I know because how closely I worked with you as I was board president for that year. I know the hours and hours you put in and the time you put in, and with great result. So I thank you for that. And I just want to also end by just saying Merry Christmas. It seems like I was just wishing you all have a great, safe vacation, and here we are again. Next, and here we are. But really, have a very Merry Christmas, everyone. Great time off coming up in another week and a half, or a little less than 2 weeks. So that's great. But and we'll see you back here next year. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Scarfo. Mr. Odom, is Mr. Holmes available on Zoom, or? Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure. Mr. Kirchhoffer?
Thank you, Madam President. Robert, Mr. Scarfo, thank you. But
What's great is it's a free country. You can have an opinion, and that's what it is, your opinion. Chief Cook, congratulations. We knew this night was coming, and congratulations to you and your team. It's great for the district, great for the board, and proud of you. And Willow Creek, that was a great way to start the evening. I think everybody back then was smiling and happy, thinking about Christmas and celebrating it with your family. I want to shout out Kenny Harris in Summer Creek, Saturday, I believe 7 o'clock in Waco, right? It's at Baylor. But go Bulldogs, and Merry Christmas, everybody.
And we'll end with me. I walked into the boardroom today and I was just blown away with how beautiful the decorations that the students from Shadow Forest, Creekwood, and Kingwood Middle School and some of the other fine arts teachers had their students do for us. They're absolutely just stunningly beautiful, and I would encourage everybody to take a peek because the work is absolutely incredible. Absolutely wonderful. Willow Creek was amazing. Their choir did a great job. I wanted to congratulate Chief Cook. Good job. Wonderful, as usual. And I was just so proud of our Kingwood Mustangs, Atascocita Eagles, and Summer Creek Bulldogs going to quarterfinals. And we just are so thrilled with Summer Creek and go Bulldogs, and can't wait to watch the game at Baylor. So with that, Dr. Brown?
Well, you all have captured all of my notes here pretty much, so I'll just add one here. Kingwood High School in K Park, Santa Farm this Friday, 6 to 8 at the North Ag Barn. So if you get a chance to experience that, encourage everyone to be there for that. And then again, just wish everyone a happy holiday and Christmas break, and it'll be here before we know it.
Yes, it will, and Merry Christmas. So moving on to our next agenda item, action items from closed session. Item 4A, personnel recommendations. Mr. Scarfo, do I have a motion?
Yes, Madam President. I move that the board approves the administration's personnel recommendations as presented in closed session with addendum.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Grabowski. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Item passes 5-0. Item 4B, student expulsions. Mr. Scarfo, do I have a motion?
Yes, Madam President. I move that the board approve the administration's recommendation of student expulsions as presented in closed session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Grabowski. Any discussion? All those in favor? Item passes 5-0. Item 4C, consider approval of settlement offer in Crane Group LLC versus Humble Independent School District, cause number 2023-78947 in the District Court of Harris County, Texas. Mr. Scarfo, do I have a motion?
Yes, I do, Madam President. I move that the board approve the settlement offer in Crane Group LLC versus Humble Independent School District, cause number 2023-78947 to the superintendent to finalize, in the District Court of Harris County, Texas, and delegate authority to the superintendent to finalize and execute all agreements, change orders, and take all actions necessary for the same.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Grabowski. Any discussion? Dr. Brown, should we say that this is the multipurpose? There's been a lot of multipurpose rooms that are not quite complete yet.
This is what we call Group 3, and Jason, how about 5 schools? 5 of our elementary schools, and so this will complete those. And so like all of Group 1, schools are now complete, and Group 2's moving along, and this will complete Group 3.
And I know everybody is looking forward to having those multipurpose rooms complete. Anybody further? All those in favor? Item passes 5-0. Moving on to item 5, our consent agenda. Item 5A, approval of minutes for the November 12, 2024 regular board meeting. Consent. Item 5B, approval of minutes for the November 26, 2024 special board meeting. Consent. Item 5C, approval of goods, professional services, and non-construction services exceeding $50,000 in the aggregate or $25,000 individually. Consent. Item 5D, bond projects, budgetary transfers. Consent. Item 5E, budgetary transfers and amendments. Consent. Item 5F, tax refunds. Consent. Item 5G, board authorization of interlocal agreements. Consent. Item 5H, approval of RFP 2021-003-19, supplies, equipment, and services for students with disabilities. Consent. Item 5A, approval of RFP number 2023-102-32, services, repairs, maintenance, and installation district-wide. Consent. Item 5J, approval of RFP number 2023-103-34, school safety products and services district-wide. Consent. Item 5K, approval of RFP 2024-102-7, software subscriptions and web-based applications. Consent. Item 5L, approval of RFP number 2025-102A, athletics and physical education equipment, supplies, and associated services. Consent. Item 5M, approval of RFP number 2025-104A, custom apparel and accessories. Consent. Item 5N, approval of RFP number 2025-14E, rate, Category 1, networking equipment. Consent. Item 5O, approval of RFP number 2025-106, performing arts equipment, rentals, and supplies. Consent. Item 5P, deductive change order. Consent. Item 5Q, architect selection for Westlake Middle School and Autumn Ridge Middle School improvement projects. Consent. Item 5R, naming of Kingwood High School natatorium and swim room. Consent. Item 5S, TPIA calendar for 2025. Consent. Mr. Scarfo, can I get a motion?
Yes, Madam President. I move to approve consent agenda items 5A to 5S.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Item passes 5-0. Item 6A, resolution of Humble ISD Board of Trustees casting its votes to appoint directors in the Harris County Appraisal District Board of Directors. Mr. Scarfo, can I have a motion?
Yes, Madam President. I move to adopt the proposed resolution casting the votes of Humble ISD as follows: 95 votes for Michael Sullivan.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Grabowski seconds the motion. Any discussion? Ms. Lamont Dixon?
Yes, Madam President, I actually think that Humble ISD should consider splitting the votes. The reason I say that, I've known Mike Sullivan a long time. He is a very good board member on HCAD, but he also has not been present at board meetings. I think he's been to one meeting since the spring. So I think, not to say he shouldn't be there, but I do think that we should consider splitting the vote so that Humble ISD can support both of us. Just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Ms. Lamont Dixon. I wanted to share, I took a lot of time going through minutes of school district board meetings and municipality board meetings, and I think you got it. I really do. I believe it in my heart that you.
No, and I'm not saying I don't have it. It would just be nice to have the support of our school district in splitting the vote, especially since, if you know, and even looking at some of the people on the ballot. I like Mike Sullivan a lot. I have known him, like I said, a long time. We agreed 99% of the time on HCAD, but you know, I don't know what's going on there, but he has not been present and has asked to not be on any committees. So if that's the pleasure of the board, you know, I understand, and we'll move forward. But I just think that if we want to support someone, I think you should support someone who potentially is present. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't have to be me. But I'm saying Jonathan Cowan is present. You know, there are a lot of people who are present at the meeting. But if not, it's totally fine, and we can move forward.
Well, I think we have an opportunity here to have two representatives that live in Humble ISD. Mr. Sullivan is a former member of this board. He served on Houston City Council. He was the former tax assessor collector and is highly, highly, highly qualified. And like I say, I think you've got it. I mean, I think we have an opportunity here to have two Humble ISD representatives. So I'm really excited about that. I think it's going to be wonderful.
So, Madam Chair, I would just ask the board to also then, once you make a vote, but actually Mike Sullivan and I both have it, I think, if you look at the numbers, but I think that just to speak with him about if he's going to represent us on HCAD, be one of our representatives, that he is also present and an active member of the board.
He's present here right now. Hi, Mr. Sullivan.
Oh, he may be present there, but we just had a board meeting, and I do not believe he was present. I think he's been present once since the spring. He can verify, but thank you.
Anybody further? All those in favor? Item pass, opposed? So item passes 4-1. Information items, item 7A, intruder detection audit. Mr. Perkins.
The Texas School Safety Center conducted an intruder detection audit pursuant to updated legal requirements. 5 campuses were reviewed with no findings.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Item 7B, updates from our board associations and committees. Does anybody have an update? Our last information item, item 7C, financial services report, is a monthly administrative item. Any questions regarding or discussion regarding this item? We will now hear the 2024 State Financial Management Report, School First Report for the year ending in June 30th, 2023. The report and presentation will be given by CFO Billy Beatty.
Good evening, Board. Dr. Brown. I'm excited to provide a presentation on our 23-24 first report. And just a reminder that we have the full report attached to the agenda item. So what is the first report? So overall, first report is kind of like the financial health report card for the district. It's similar to school accountability. So the state reviews a number of financial indicators and then scores it. And the nice part about that is not everyone's a school finance expert, so it's convenient for the state to take all that data, aggregate it for the public, and then put a quantitative score on those indicators. And what it demonstrates is overall just financial health of the district. So I'm not building any suspense here. We got an A. We're at superior achievement, the highest possible score that you can get. And we've done that for 22 years straight. So very, very proud of that. A lot of work goes into this. It makes it a lot easier to present on this, when you have a good report card. I remember back in the day when I had not so good a report card, bringing that home to my parents, and there's a little bit of explaining to do, but very proud of the effort. These are not indicators or evaluation items that you can just change in an instant. These are things that we are very methodical with, strategic with, take many years to achieve the levels that are expected from the state. So overall, we did great. 22 years, very proud of that. A testament to all the work, not only financial services, but all of our budget managers in the district contribute to this, this rating. So just a look at what, how other districts scored. A lot of districts did very well. That's great for overall school district health. But the same districts aren't scoring superior every single year. They come in and out, things happen, things change. Like, for example, the superior achievement last year was in the 90s. So things change for districts. So for us to be 22 years straight, every year that the report has been in existence to get the highest rating possible is just, you know, it just demonstrates where we are in as far as finances go. It's a kind of like I said, it's a nice report that looks at what can be complicated and confusing financial reports and kind of boils it down to a score. And for all the different indicators, you may get points, or there are different indicators that are deemed critical, and sometimes those are kind of like, you think of like your pass-fail, where you either pass the class or fail the class. And there's some ceiling indicators that if you do not pass that indicator, then you can only get a maximum of a certain score. And every year, just depending on how things are going with school finance, the state will look at this and maybe not score some indicators. In this report, indicator 10 and 15 were not scored, and these are related to some of the uncertainty that we're still facing as a result of COVID. So you'll see that the ADA related indicator is not scored because attendance has not recovered since COVID, and all of our funding, or most of our funding, is determined off of attendance. So that's why the attendance comparison, budgeted revenues to actuals, is not scored as well. So just want to make note that not all the indicators are always scored every year. So as far as the critical indicators, again, these are the pass-fails. A lot of them are just as simple as, did you submit your financial report? Did you have a clean audit with an unmodified opinion? And did you comply with payment terms? You'll see that we passed everything, except there's an asterisk on number 4. So what that asterisk is that on this indicator, did we pay all of our bills on time to state and federal agencies? There was one invoice that we missed paying, and once we recognized it, we got it corrected very, very quickly. What the situation was that most all invoices are set to go to accounts payable directly, so that we know that those bills are needing to be paid, not the individual departments. In this case, that invoice was set to go to that department, and then we had transition of staff in that department, and so when the invoice was sent, we never knew about it. And so we got it fixed quickly, but since that happened, the highest score we could score in this report was 95.
Mr. Beatty, how much was that invoice?
I think it was $70. And you know, just for perspective, we are always trying to make sure that we get invoices. It's very important for us to make sure we have all the invoices, pay the invoices promptly. We pay about 75,000 individual invoices a year. So, but we let one go in this report year for $70. So the highest we could score is a 95. Luckily, not a total fail of the report. So indicator 5, this is another ceiling indicator, and it's basically looking at just your overall net position. It demonstrates the overall financial solvency of the district, and we are positive here, so we passed that ceiling. Indicator 6, Is another ceiling indicator, and it looks at fund balance. We have a very healthy fund balance, and what this indicator is really looking to see is if your fund balance is decreasing, do you have enough fund balance to keep things going? And our fund balance is decreasing a little bit. We are drawing on some of that fund balance. But as you notice over here on the second chart, we have 151 days of fund balance available, and the state's hoping you have 75 if your fund balance is decreasing. So very, very, very strong fund balance that allows us to, even if the worst case happens, something surprising or unexpected happens, we have a nice savings account to draw on to address an issue. So we pass that ceiling indicator there. Indicator 7, we lost some points on this, but this is, I would say if you know, we keep going back to my report card analogy, this is kind of like where we chose to take athletics or another elective where we may have forego some additional GPA points if we took an advanced level class. We manage our cash flow constantly. We're looking at cash flow all the time, evaluating where we stand from a cash flow perspective. And what this indicator is saying, the state wants to see that you have greater than 90 days of cash on hand for expenses. And they have very specific rules what cash on hand is. So short-term investments. We're so good at knowing what our cash flow is that we are willing to forego some of these points here because we can put that cash to use with some longer-term investments. And what that does is provide the district with greater interest earnings and more stable interest earnings over time. So it's definitely, we do lose some points on this indicator, but we feel very confident that what we're doing with our cash is the best for our district. And I mean, if you put it into perspective, what we're doing here probably adds a couple $1 million of revenue, not only just per year, but for more years in the future as well. So if we can lock in some of those interest rates right now that are high, we can continue receiving the revenue from that interest. You can, yes.
Making $2 million, you shouldn't lose the points.
Yes, I think you can, absolutely. And so we actually asked the district, or the state, to take a second look at that invoice, that $70 invoice. But I think that in this case, they like where they're at. It's an ultra financially conservative position, but you know, I just don't know if they feel the same way. And I will say most of these targets are very, very, very strict and highly financially conservative. So a little bit of leeway on some of these is a good, at least good thing in my opinion for this one.
Mr. Beatty, and we knew that when we changed the policy, investment policy, I think it was, well, not quite 2 years ago, but that would happen, probably happen, and, you know, that's fine, because it makes a lot of sense that, you know, like you said, give up a couple points. Talk about, you know, stringent, I mean, the next indicator, I don't know if you have a slide on, I think it's number 8, that's, to me, crazy that in order to get a 9, or I'm sorry, a 10, you have to have a current ratio of greater than 3. That's phenomenal. And that would be, in my mind, a really bad use of assets. But because, you know, we review the clients and whatever, and boy, if somebody had a 2.5 like we do, I'm doing cartwheels. I think that's great. So that's really
And I think that you make a good point there is that we have to make those decisions. Do we feel good about that cash just sitting on hand just to achieve, you know, an extra 2 points on this indicator? Our position is still very financially sound, and we're still in a great financial position. In this instance, how they define the assets here is, again, that if you have any funds tied up in a maturity longer than a year, then those aren't going to be included in this calculation, in this ratio. So we do have the funds on hand. They're just not used in this ratio, in this calculation. And we feel good about that because, they may be worth a whole nother % more for that extra year or two in that scenario. So that indicator A, very similar to indicator 7, and why we lose a little points there is because we don't have just everything just sitting in cash. All right, indicator 9. This is another pass-fail, and it basically just says, did you spend more than did you spend more than what you received? And in this case, you can see our reports here. We did not. And if you did get in a situation where you spent more than you got, the state wants you to have at least 60 days fund balance there. And so it doesn't apply on the fund balance side for us, but we still, even with the pretty strict rules on the cash on hand definition, we still have this over the 60, even if we were to go into a deficit as far as general fund goes. All right, indicator 11. This one looks at long-term solvency. I would say that this is kind of similar to is your house mortgage more or less than the value of your home? And in this situation, our ratio, you can see here, is a little bit higher than what the state expects to see. But you'll notice the qualifier here that if you're in a growth situation, the state gives you a little bit of leeway there and recognizes that you're in a different spending situation. So we receive full points on this. And we're right within striking distance of that target regardless. Indicator 12 is looking at our ability to service our debt. And we're again slightly above the state's target, about 1% higher than what the state likes to see there of the 4. But again, this is still a very strong position. No question that we are able to pay all of our debts, and it only looks at certain aspects of this ratio. For example, we have fund balance in our debt service fund, so we even have a little bit more security to be able to pay for our long-term debt. So, but we got 8 out of the 10 points on this indicator. 13, I'm especially proud of this indicator. I think this demonstrates the efficiency of the district in our budgeting. 13 is looking at what are we spending on administrative costs, and we are very low. We're well below the target of the state. We're at 5% versus the state wants to, they'll give you up to 8.55 to get full points on this indicator. So again, very proud, and I think that demonstrates how efficient we are with our funding at the administrative level. And indicator 14 is, it looks at the ratio of enrollment and staffing, and primarily looks at if you have declining enrollment, is looking at to see is your staffing proportionately declining as well, and not exceeding 15% decrease in staffing in those situations. This isn't really as applicable to us because we are in an enrollment. Our enrollment was increasing during this time, so we got full points for this indicator. Another ceiling indicator, and again, I'm very, very proud of this one as well personally for the whole financial services team. This is really grading the quality of your financial data. And so what this indicator is, the state's looking at what we submit through the state reporting process, PEMS, and what we have reported on our annual financial report. And if you look at this, the expenditures for 2023, $455 million, the state would allow a 3% variance between the two reporting of up to $13.6 million, and our variance was $488. So that's 0.00, lots of 0%, near perfect, and that just is indicative of the quality of our financial, our GL and our reports.
Just look at
Very
this
consistent.
year, $500, 488, 5. That's amazing. Like, you put that as a numerator over that number with 9 digits.
I tried to do it before I came here
It's
just to give
pretty
you the
tiny.
number,
Yeah, I know.
and my desk calculator doesn't
Yep.
have that many
That's right.
zeros.
Not enough
so.
places. Yep. Great job by everybody involved.
All right, so 17 and 18. 17 looks at, really both of them look at our audit and if we are in compliance with rules and regulations. So we passed both. We have a clean audit, no material weakness noted, and no disclosures of material non-compliance. So passed both of those. 19 is looking at did we comply with all the financial transparency requirements, and we did. We complied with posting all the required financial information that is necessary. So we passed that. And then the final, the indicator 20 is another ceiling indicator. And did we discuss property values before budget adoption? And we do that multiple times during our budget workshops. We'll take our property value estimates that we get and start discussing those in April and May. Ultimately, we don't approve, or we don't bring you the tax rate for adoption until September, but we start discussing all of that at budget workshops before adoption, so we pass that as well. And finally, I don't have everything listed here, but we are required to disclose various superintendent board related expenses, and we have those posted in the full report to meet that requirement. So with that, I'll open it up to questions or comments.
Madam President? May I?
Mr. Scarfo?
You just said that on the last item. Did you ever find out about the meals, apportioning the meals for board members? Because remember I said to you, I couldn't understand why there was $739, and I saw it was also showing up under Mr. Kirchhoff. Is that an appropriation of, like, tables at galas and things like that?
So,
okay, that's fine.
So it may be that the district
Sure. That's good.
attended an event and paid for a table, and so we see on the PO that the board would be in attendance, so we distribute that equally to whoever attended. So that it creates some odd numbers there, but that would.
I just want to say quickly, this is more than just, oh, we scored this, we scored that, and oh, aren't we great? It really reflects the financial management as well. And I know Mr. Acosta came up and said, hey, I'd like to look for, and that's great. I mean, more eyes, the better. Yeah, we're always looking to do that. But I just think this speaks to what not only our finance division does under your leadership, but what the entire district and Dr. Brown and all of the cabinet as it goes down to the campuses. People are keenly aware that we are spending taxpayers' money. Mine, I'm a taxpayer, and I don't like to see money wasted. And when I was involved with you in the Finance Committee, I would speak my mind on things, and I think it's important. But I believe that this type of report, it's not just checking boxes. It's what it means and what it shows. And I just want to commend everybody involved across the district. And what a great job, year after year, that we're doing. It makes me feel better as serving on this board, but also as a taxpayer, knowing that we're not just wasting money. We are being very careful of what we do. And I'm not saying there aren't some places that, hey, we could do better here, better there. That's great. Let's hear it. Let's look at it. And I know Mr. Kirchhoffer would welcome that as chair of the Finance Committee. But I just want to say, great job. Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. And it is very true that we live by these principles, try to be as the best stewards of these dollars as we possibly can. And every decision, we're constantly have that at the forefront. And I think that's what, the state reviewing our data and, scoring us that way is indicative of that focus.
The public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this topic?
It's still French to me. I really didn't understand that much. The gentleman did.
Would you like to come to the
Oh, yes,
podium?
ma'am. I'm not trying to be difficult. I just wanted to say that I think that's a little French to me. I was more looking for, okay, we got all these buildings over here. They're being used, they're being paid for. How about this one's over here? So I hope, I pray that, gentlemen, you guys are good stewards of the money, but my invitation is still open. I would still like to go ahead and do my own study and see.
The comments are limited to the first report.
Okay, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Santiago. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Lamont Dixon. My apologies.
I just had a brief comment. I would like to echo everything Mr. Scarfo said, but also as a member of the Finance Committee, congratulations to the entire finance team. I think at least the 8 years I've been around here, almost 8 years, we have always had a superior rating. And Mr. Beatty, sorry, just honored to always work with you. And you're brilliant in this area. And just congratulations. I know it's a lot of work to pull these first reports together. So just wanted to say congratulations to you and your entire team.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Sure, Mr. Ford.
So there's no doubt that they do an amazing job of making sure our budget's balanced. As a teacher, I can tell you the 1%, 2% raise that I got this year.
You can ensure that your comments are limited to the subject matter of the first.
Absolutely. I'm just wondering if there could be a shifting of priorities while still keeping a balanced budget. So teachers, faculty, and staff could get a cost of living increase so we're not making less this year than last year.
Anyone further? Hearing none, I close this public hearing. The time is now 8:41 p.m. Sorry. Just the hearing. Moving on to closing items, are there any topics for future board business? Mr. Scarfo?
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, I would like to, for the board, consider that we set a workshop for late January to continue the conversation that we started at the September 26th breakfast with the board about evaluating and improving student outcomes and student performance, those types of things, and really have a deep discussion about the outcomes the board wants to set for student performance. And of course, that can be measured. The ones that, they have to be outcomes that can be measured. So I'd look forward to having the consultant, Dr. Perez, facilitating this conversation. So I hadn't heard anything yet, and I know it's been talked about. I just wanted to kind of push it a little bit to make sure that we can and I know it's only the beginning. Like we're going to have more. We'd have to have. It's not going to all be solved in one next workshop. But I'd like to get something on the books if that's possible. If everybody agrees. If they don't, that's okay too. Thank you, Madam President.
We were going to do it anyway, but Dr. Brown and I have been working on it. Okay, good.
I actually talked to Dr. Perez today, so. Oh, great, yeah.
Okay, are there any future topics for board business? The time
Yes.
is now, oh, I'm sorry,
Madam
I'm sorry,
Chair?
Ms. Lamont Dixon, I am so sorry.
I think maybe it could be in conjunction with what Mr. Scarfo said, but I think we need to have a superintendent evaluation meeting to discuss what that looks like. I've been, bringing this up, I think now, it's been about a year and a half, and we still have not had one. And I think it's time for us to move forward with that.
I completely agree with you, and I think it'll all be wrapped up into the work that we do with Dr. Perez. But yes, absolutely, I completely agree. Anybody else? The time is now 8:44 PM. This meeting is adjourned.